All right, so we're going to be talking about how options can be utilized to increase your leverage in the market and get very high rates of return compared to just holding a stock, just using your own money. So let's go ahead and talk about the two types of options. So we have a put option, which is paying for the opportunity to sell a stock at a certain time. So let's say you own a stock, it's plummeting. You would want a put option, so then you have a backup, basically your insurance, to sell that when it was a higher price. So next we have a call option. These are basic types, by the way, which is basically paying for the option to buy a stock at a certain price. Why would you want to do this? If the stock is soaring through the roof and you can get a bargain on the shares, then you would buy a call option. So let's go ahead and compare how these contribute to exponential high rates of return that we're talking about. So let's say there's a stock, it's $50 a share, and we're going to use 100 shares in our example. So let's go ahead and go from the average investor's point of view. So they buy 100 shares of this $50 stock, $5,000. The stock doubles, it goes to 10 grand, they make 5 grand. So that's 100% rate of return. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's say if you had a well-positioned option. We'll use a call option in this example. So you're putting out, instead of just buying the shares outright, you purchase an option to buy the shares at $50 a share, and then you buy this option for 100 shares, and then you pay a $300 premium on the time. And keep in mind that people will pay you less. The option becomes less valuable the closer it gets to expiring, because therefore there's less premium you're on the option. So let's say this person who bought the option has the same circumstance where it's basically two different people attacking the same stock, basically. So they end up having this option for the stock doubles, okay? The value goes up to 10 grand, and they have this option that is worth a good amount that they can sell to get high rates of return. So the other individual made 5 grand off of 5 grand, 100% rate of return. This person, they have the option to buy 50 shares at 100 shares at $50. They end up selling that option to someone, let's say for 5 grand. This would end up getting them a profit of $4,700, only using their $300 for the time period of the contract. So let's put this in comparison. The individual who didn't have an option made 5 grand off of 5 grand. The individual who did made $4,700 off of $300. One's 100% rate of return. The other one exceeds 1,000% rate of return. Utilizing leverage, limiting the amount of money you're putting into the situation, which is always ideal. And we can even compare that to real estate, for example. It's all assets. There's many types of assets. So let's go ahead and talk about real estate, for example. Maybe this will brighten up the subject. So you're utilizing leverage in real estate by utilizing the bank's money to gain 100% of the benefits and cash flow of the property and returning to the bank less valuable dollars. This is also similar. It can also be applied in the stock market using options, which is something that's definitely not widely known due to majority of the stock market information you see is always just on purchasing stocks and holding them, right? When in reality, using leverage from options will really increase your rate of returns exponentially. You'll notice a huge difference. So when it comes down to it, let's go ahead and talk about the types of put options and call options. So we have an uncovered call option, which is actually, it's way more risky than a covered call option, which I guess you could infer that by uncovered versus covered. Let's look at it insurance wise, right? Would you rather be covered or uncovered? So it's definitely more risky and definitely requires more capital to start off with, and it requires the highest rating of a trading account on Schwab, which is a fun fact. So you have to be qualified to make these types of trades. So what is this? It's basically buying an option without having the capital ready to purchase a stock, basically. So you don't have, the preparation set aside. So it's basically less preparation that's going into it, and you don't have the capital ready to purchase a stock or sell a stock at a certain time. So what a covered is you have to have the funds available to make use of the option right at that certain time period, which makes sense because you don't want to come out short when the time comes to make a deal with this contract. Same goes for put option. With uncovered, you do not need to have the funds available to make that contract possible at that certain time. With covered, you do. So that's something really important to remember. That it's always recommended for beginning, unless you're an absolute, a professional investor, completely comfortable with all different types of options. Because I know I definitely myself would not do an uncovered option. I wouldn't be purchasing any uncovered options or, figuring out those until a long bit from right now, because I do not want to put myself in a situation where I'm not prepared for it, right? Preparation is key. So when it comes down to it, options can greatly increase your leverage in the stock market and maximize your bang for your buck compared to just holding the stocks yourself. So let's go back to our example real quick. Actually, when we talked about $300 to make 4,700 and 5,000 make 5,000 make 5,000. So worst case scenario in that situation, you lose $300, but the upside is limitless. That stock could have went completely through the roof. Yep, if it goes down, that's right. You only lose $300, but the upside is in your favor. You can gain way more than you can lose, and that's leverage. You always want to put yourself in a situation that's risk managing and easy and controllable by yourself, because as soon as you get out of control, that it's just a bad situation. So make sure you're comfortable with options before you hop into trading them. Make sure you also want to make sure your broker account is approved for these types of options in the stock market. So it's just another way to utilize leverage when it comes to different asset classes. I'm more familiar with real estate 100%. Real estate's definitely my favorable asset class, but I always enjoy learning about all different types, and that's why I wanted to present the options and just the base fundamentals of it. So let's go ahead and dive into some vocabulary that you would want to know before you start trading options. So we have a strike price, which is the price you agreed to buy or sell that share. And then we have volume, which is the amount of shares the option has. And also we have the premium, which is how much is being paid for the opportunity itself, the deal itself. A lot of times the time's factored in that too. So yes, thank you so much for watching. Please leave any feedback, good or bad. It all helps the channel. This video is way larger than usual, but it's definitely a more, it definitely requires more explaining to do than a lot of the other subjects I've talked about. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.